Kia ora team, welcome back to another episode of The Martin Show. We got a special guest today in the property space. This man is an entrepreneur, a property investor and educator. I introduced you, Tama Singh.
Well done, bro. You definitely remembered my bio well.
Yeah.
Great to be on here, guys.
Oh, bro, lovely to meet you. Here on The Martin Show, we always like to go back. So I just wanted to ask you to start us off.
Yep.
Tama.
Yes.
What nationality are you, bro?
So I was born in New Zealand, born and raised, grew up in Opotiki.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and then last name Singh. My parents are both from Fiji. So born in Fiji, and then I was born here, and then my dad named me that name solely because New Zealand's a very racist country. And the reason why is when we were in Opotiki, he already had the grunt force of the racism that came towards him. And he thought one day, he goes, I'm going to give my son a Māori name to help people bring him into, just see him as not an Indian person, right?
Yeah.
And that was it. He did say, I got the name because he was in the army and there was a grenade exercise that happened. My dad he threw the grenade wrong, apparently. I could never see if he's telling the truth here, but apparently this sergeant came and saved his life from the grenade blowing up in front of his face, and his name was Sergeant Tama. So he said, that's why I named you Tama.
Wow.
Yeah. Then I questioned him as I got older and older and found flaws in the story. And then I realized it's probably because he just wanted me to have a New Zealand name.
Holy shit, bro. That's crazy. Yeah, well, when I saw it, I was like, I love it. Well, Tama means boy or son.
Yeah, in Māori.
Māori, so.
And Singh is just the second most common name in New Zealand or the world.
Yeah, I know a few things. Today's episode, and for a lot of our audience, probably not too educated in your world. Me, myself, today, I'm a student. Yeah. And I'm actually looking forward to learning off you, bro. I'm a D+ student. You're the clerk or you're the teacher, and I'm just willing to learn.
Yeah, awesome.
So, bro, let's go back. What do we, myself and the audience, need to know about you to know the life that you've lived?
Well, the first thing is like relatable backs. Like say you're in the property business space, everyone had like their first job, right? That most people that are 15 to 18 would probably do.
Yeah.
So it was like pushing trolleys at a supermarket, right? And then when you're pushing trolleys at a supermarket, you can sort of gauge the hierarchy of promotions that happen within a company. So you go, I'm a trolley person here, then I work at checkouts. And at checkouts, I might become a supervisor. Then a supervisor, I become a manager, right? And then you sort of in your head go, I wonder what the pay structure looks like for that.
Yeah.
And do I care as much doing that or looking for something else? Because eventually if you get a job at 15, 16, 17, that's during high school. Then high school happens, the second to last year, people start talking about what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Why are you going to uni? Yeah. Are you going to move overseas? Are you doing this? And you're probably already working a job like I was. So then you go, do I not just bang this out for a little more years, get on 60 grand back then or whatever it was, not do uni and try and go up in the supermarket space, which is what I thought I would do, right? And because I was young and back then, I was working there during the GFC. Yeah. I'm only 32, by the way, I'm not in my 40s. And I didn't understand it or know anything what was happening because it's sort of what's happening in New Zealand's economy right now, where things are just so expensive and the government's starting to cut benefits to a lot of people. And when you're like 16 and the '08 happened, I think the maths is there, you start to hear the adults around say, work in a supermarket, it's a guaranteed job, everyone needs food all the time. You start to be like, oh shit. At a young age, you can get easily brainwashed into just being like, yes, supermarket, right?
Stuck there.
And then eventually one thing happens where you get a bit older and you realize how much money you actually need. And everything coincides with how useless your friends and family might be as well. Because if you're also going to be like, eventually my money has to take care of them. When you're on 100K in New Zealand, that is nowhere near enough.
For sure.
That's enough to maybe take care of your little small 2-3 people family. But once you go into brothers, sisters, mum, dads, grandparents, game over.
Wow.
Someone asks you for $2,000 next week, that'll literally cripple your bank account if you're only on 100K.
When you think about it like that.
Living in Auckland. Yeah. So that's where people's mindset should be thinking of when they're young and they're like, it's all good. And they're just closed-minded on themselves. Yeah. You always have to put your mind in the fact of family came and asked me for an emergency $2,000 or whatever it is, can I give it? And will it really affect my savings and alter floor my plans of moving overseas or going on this holiday, because that $2,000 is literally me saying, no, I can't afford to give it to you. But you're not going to do that. You're probably going to end up giving it.
Giving.
Yeah. So it comes down to like, how much you want to earn, not just for yourself, whether if you're going to be generous with the money.
And speaking of giving to multiple people, did you come from a supportive whānau, supportive family?
Yeah, very. Yeah. So we were obviously quite poor growing up.
Yeah.
To the point where, you know, a lot of people talk about generational wealth and, you know, you hear the scams going around online.
I saw your most recent one about
I go hard because a lot of people, they just go after literally brain rot, dumb people online. And they're just like, did you know you can sit on your ass, do nothing and just earn money from your phone? Yeah. It's like, on what planet do you think that even if that was true, you won't be kicked to the side in 5 seconds if they find someone just a tad bit faster than you?
Yeah.
Because you have no real skills.
Yeah.
Because the actual flaw in the business is the description of the business. Sit on your ass, make money very easily. So why can't that person do it and replace you?
Well, bro, there are so many out there now. Sign up to my course, whether it be a drop shipping, e-com, pay this amount of money and you will become a millionaire. There's so many out there now.
And obviously you don't want to bash on courses in general.
No, for sure.
But it's the misleading easy quick wins, which has been around for like 50 years, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just like way more gross ads where if you grew up watching infomercials, they've got the same things. But at least the screen wasn't 30 centimeters away from your with flashing shit that keeps your attention, right? You have to watch it with a TV from like at least 4 meters away, right? So people need to just understand that the get rich quick schemes are just collecting people's money in the masses. And if you think something's so easy to make money from, understand you can be replaced very easily.
Speaking of your content, speaking of the scamming videos, bro, to me it seems like you're a very independent person. Like you're a leader in itself, and bro, I love it. I admire it a lot, actually. But did you have anyone, especially in your younger days, did you have anyone that you looked up to?
General business thinking, ideas, references was my dad.
Yeah.
You know, smart on the advice, and then eventually, you know, the action's a difference, right? From someone that actually, you know, will do it, right? But eventually when the time came where I've learned all the skills and lessons from him, then I eventually learned the business sides.
Yeah.
And I said, now it's time to take action.
Yeah.
And taking action literally comes down to like, we need to sign these documents now. Here's the pen so we can release equity in our house to buy another house. That is the actual action. It isn't like, all right, get up, put our shoes on, let's go for a run.
Yeah.
That is action.
For sure.
Action in business really does come down to one thing. Was something signed? Because that's what starts something. That's what gets the lawyers to do something. That's what gets the bank to draw down the loans. That's what gets something happening. That's what action actually is in the business world. Something being signed.
Yeah.
Because you can sit on the sideline, but yeah, I'll do it until you sign something, or unless you commit to that, accepting that invoice and then paying the deposit. That's the action, right? So
Signing,
that's what it was like. And so me and my dad, you know, even before this happened, I would tell the story quite a bit, but we had like a huge fallout, argument stuff. And then literally 3 weeks time, I had to come back to him and say, hey, I need your signature so we can raise equity to do this. And most people wouldn't even talk to their parents on good terms about anything to ask for the bank of mum and dad, right?
Bro, 100%.
Yeah. But we obviously owned the house together, and I was paying for the mortgage payments on it for like years.
That's one of my questions, actually. I was going to ask it a little bit later on, but I'm going to ask you right now. Why do you think that is, bro? Why do you think... Because there's a lot of whānaus out there that like financial literacy and money in particular is such a taboo subject.
I know.
It's not spoken about. And then you see some families, bro, I went to school on the shore, that have the generational wealth and they're having those conversations at dinner, talking about, I don't know, it could be money, but it could be, how are you making money? It could be about systems, their systems or whatever. Why is it that some families are like that and others aren't?
Talking about the business side in the generational wealth, there has to be someone that eventually wants to break that for the family, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where parents could be sitting on a home that they've owned since 1980 or 1990s in Auckland. It could be worth 1.5 million and there's no equity. There's equity in it and they have no idea what to do about it. So you have the 17-year-old or whoever it is start learning, and by the time he's 21, 22, he is confident enough, earns enough that he can join the title, help service the mortgage, use that equity to buy something else. In New Zealand, you can hold it for 2 years. It'll grow up in value. You can sell it and use that profit to pay for holiday for them.
Wow.
Just to be like, oh, we never thought in our life we'll end up in London or doing something. And it's like, well, how much does that cost, first of all? Oh, probably for you and your father, me and my father, your parents, I don't know, 25,000?
Yeah.
30 grand? It's like, cool. Well, in 2 years' time, if you guys sign this document, pretty sure you guys will be there. Because you'll make way more than 25 grand from holding a property for 2 years if you buy it well. Just things like this. But people are like, nah, but I want to go there next week.
Yeah.
Where's the business thing that gets me to London next week?
Yeah, bro.
Business class.
Again, it's that quick fix.
And then
right?
they'll just never, ever get it. It's that whole thing where people underestimate what they can achieve in 5 years and they overestimate what they think they can achieve in 6 months.
Yeah. I also think it's knowledge as well, right? Like understanding this knowledge, having that knowledge. A lot of us don't have that knowledge or skills.
Nah.
So linking into property then, when did you buy your first home?
So at 19. So
At 19?
Yeah, from the job, I started pushing trolleys. So I did that all the way until I left the countdown when it transitioned when I was like 20 years old. So at 19, that is where I don't even think I used my KiwiSaver there. And I just had to top up 400 a week for my wages at like 19 years old from that moment. And then parents separated and then I had to do 800 a week. Because my dad wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I was doing 800 a week from countdown, earning probably like 900 a week, right? And so it was literally just to keep the house thing. And then I quit that job to go and do a door-to-door sales job, which is an awesome job. This is where you actually, people know, you knock on the door, you see the power company guys, or they're selling, I was selling car service vouchers for like Midas and Pit Stop. And that was commission only. So you leave your very secure supermarket job and you go door knock houses and you get no sales, you get a donut, which is zero, which is nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, maybe $100 a week.
Yeah, and it costs you to get out there, gas, travel, all that type of stuff. And then I was used to set up for like the first 6 months. I wasn't too bad, but I wasn't, and then the second 6 months, that's when I got really good at it.
Yeah.
And understood how to talk to people and, ask for the sale and body language, tonality, all that type of stuff. And then that's what happened. But there was a certain period of time where how are you supposed to be paying $800 a week when you're on a commission-only job earning no money?
Wow.
And that was actually quite time.
Yeah, bro. What did you do?
You have to apply for financial hardship to withdraw your KiwiSaver, which was a deliberate move that we sort of did because I didn't use it on my first home. And I think I had like 12 grand in there. The mortgage was ANZ. And then we applied for that financial hardship. So the 12 grand goes from my KiwiSaver of ANZ straight to ANZ's account anyway. To pay for the mortgage that was behind.
Wow.
When I was like 20. Then from that moment, I started earning a bit there from that job where everything you sell that gets someone a service, warrant, rego, you get $50 from. And it was $189. So the rest of it goes to the owner and you keep the 50. So imagine when you start getting 50 sales a week, 2.5 grand. Right?
Grow.
Yeah, all that type of stuff. So eventually the market of being a door-to-door salesperson would never suffice because it's like, one law change from the government being like, oh, you're So then I went and found another job, which was the job that I had for 9 years.
Okay.
That was from 21 years old to literally like 30.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And so from then, 19 years old, first property purchased.
Was about 6 years later at 27 or 28.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now over 60 properties
65,
purchased.
yeah.
65.
Before, yeah.
My question is, what was the goal at 19? Was it to learn, to buy and just learn and experience what it's like or was it from the get-go you were like, I want to buy as many as I can? What was the goal?
Well, it's just like the biggest vehicle of tangible, realistic wealth in this country come at that time was real estate. Still to this time, it is real estate, right? The only other thing that can just GG someone into the stratosphere beyond like property, because it does take time, is only stocks.
Yeah.
It's just getting lucky on some $10,000 Nvidia thing that you bought in 2014 and then it's now worth like 4 million, right? Only that type of stuff. But that is something you don't have control over.
Yeah.
So it's too volatile where you're like, I'm okay with just building it myself and doing it slowly. And then that's why in New Zealand, you choose property.
Do you think now has the goal changed from when you were 19, that young boy there, till now? What's the goal now?
Oh, but the only other thing that's gone in the middle of that is software. So shares and stocks is one thing, right? It is classed as an investment, right? But software is a certain product or service.
Yeah.
And that's the way that you've done. So you scale it up. And when you talk to every other or study other wealthy people, they do make their money elsewhere outside of real estate.
Yeah.
So they do business and they do software, they do apps, they do developments or software developments, and that cash comes in, they pay the tax on that, and that money has to be parked somewhere. Doesn't sit in a bank account.
Yeah.
If anything, it reinvests into the business, right? Which it does. But eventually after year 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's really making heaps, they don't need to reinvest as much as you thought back in the starting day because it's so profitable. So eventually, does that money just sit in their bank account? No. They take that money, their excess money, and they start to buy real estate. Because if they left it in the bank account, it might only make like, I don't know, 2 or 3% in wherever.
Especially inflation.
Yeah. And then they put it in property and they buy well and they end up growing that way more in like 5 years.
Wow. Yeah. I was going to ask you about talking about investments and if property is your only area where you generate revenue, but stocks as well. I think all people should jump on the waka and start
learning about it.
Yeah,
at least,
exactly,
right?
bro. Exactly. Well, you're not taught these things in school.
No.
In particular, you know, might study economics and you might talk about, I don't know, mortgages and loans and this and that, but investments, they're not really spoken about, bro.
No.
And so I was pretty fortunate in the year of COVID to start reading books about it and, you know, to get more familiar and just open a shares account.
Yeah.
Give it a try. ETF, what's an ETF? You know, jumping into things like that. And then now you look at it and you're like, shit, I wish I did more, you know? And so the next part is definitely something, a tangible asset like.
Yeah, you could have done more. You could have hit an NVIDIA share right now and like got a Lambo, right?
Yeah.
Then you drove it fast and killed yourself down the street.
Yeah, exactly.
That could have happened.
For sure.
So everything happens for a reason. So you can't get sad about the whole missed opportunity thing because that opportunity could have put you in a supercar and you were just way too young to have that car at that time and literally crashed and killed yourself.
Ooh, perspective. I love that.
Yeah.
Speaking of buying a home.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a intimidating subject for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think it's due to the information that's out there. And usually there's two different sides. You can either get the do not buy a home. You know, the banks are trying to screw you over 30 years, you know, lock you out, And then there's the other side where you hear people that will tell you, get on the property ladder ASAP.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Zach? Jump when you can kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where do you swing toward?
Buying a house obviously always is a good opportunity to have.
Yeah.
There's things where people say, oh, no, I like to rent because I don't have rates and maintenance and all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you're not supposed to own a home to just have that one home and worry about the rates and worry about the maintenance and worry about not being able to just up and go. It's to own a home to leverage to buy 3 houses.
Yeah.
And then when the rates and the maintenance and everything starts out your home, those 3 can pay for that.
Wow.
It covers that. If you're in the mindset of just having one home and then the roof starts caving in, the rates go up 10%, then you're pretty
Yeah.
You know, that is why investment properties are the key. Because after 2 years, if you sell them and you avoid the bright line tax and you have all that profit to yourself, what do you think 50 grand's going to do to your problems?
Wow.
You know?
See, but this is it, man. This is it. This is the knowledge that a lot of us don't think about, especially our younger men out here.
And obviously when you buy your first home, as per New Zealand's loan rules, is you can borrow up to the maximum amount of stuff, of equity in the house, only on your first home, only on your own occupied, which is 80% of the value.
Wow.
Right? So the easy way for people to understand is if I poured this coffee and you go, hey bro, I want some coffee. And I go, cool. Do you know what I can give you out of this coffee? You go, what? And I put your glass in and I go until 80% of it's gone. And you take this coffee and go, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I can do a lot with this. I can drink this whole thing and be good for the day. Now, if this was an investment property, you can only borrow up to 70%.
Gotcha.
So obviously I'll get the same glass and I go, only up to 70%. And you go, still pretty good, but it's not as much as I would have liked.
Yeah. It's not the easy.
So that is sort of what it's like when you have a certain property, you can borrow up to 80% and then use its usable equity to go off and leverage.
Wow.
But then how it visualizes that when you do the investment property, so own occupy fills up to 80%. Then you have that and you use that to buy an investment property. So you pour that one into the 70% and you take that equity 70% into another one. You can 70% from all your investment properties for until your servicing caps out.
Holy shit.
That's how it works. That's how people go from like 0 properties to like 10.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Okay, then let's go. Speaking of buying the first home, let's go back to the number one. Let's go scenario. So there's a 20 to 30-year-old male out there. He works a 9 to 5, stable job, could be a tradie. He's not the richest guy in the world, but he does all right.
Does he vape?
He probably vapes if he's a tradie, but he's thinking about buying his first home. What should he be thinking about in regards to his spending and saving? What should his priorities be?
Well, easy thing is, obviously I'm not a financial advisor, but I'll just say what I know is what I do. So understand the bank's going to look at your bank statements 3 to 6 months. So 3 to 6 months, 6 months is normally the minimum for a credit card and 3 months for like earnings coming in. If he's a sole trader where he is the business, he owns the business, he'll need to provide financial statements. And that is from end of financial year. Yep. And then you're going to have to pay an accountant to do those reports. So you're going to have to fork out another 2 or something grand for that paperwork anyway. So they have to budget for that. But if they're a tradie that works under a boss, then your credit card, if it's at a 10 grand limit and you can get that down and you've got 3 grand that you need to pay on it, so it's 7 grand that you can go out and blow right now. Yeah. Call the bank up and drop that to 5. So you'll still have that grand buffer. Yeah. But if you've never really gone over 5K, then you didn't need it to be up to 10K. And if you cut that 5K off and your credit card is now only 5 grand, the banks will look at that and your servicing for a loan will go up way more. Yeah. Because banks always assume the worst. So when you're saying you're buying an investment property and you hand them a rental appraisal, this is how much money I'm going to be earning if I rent this property out, and it ranges from 400 to 450, banks will go 400. Okay. Right? Yeah. And if you give them a credit card that says, I'm only got 2 grand on my credit card, the limit's up to 10, they're like, sweet, you're in debt 10 grand. Wow. They're going to assume you're instantly out there gambling and you're going to max out that thing every day. Yeah. So they're 10 grand. So what happens if they go, it's only 5? So they take off 5 grand worth of debt. So your 60 grand a year that you're earning is only 55. Yeah. But if you're at 60 grand and you had 10 grand credit, you're only at 50. Ooh. So of course you're not going to be able to buy as much. Yeah. So small things like that they can look at doing.
Wow. Okay. And I feel like for a lot of young people, it's like there's 2 ways of looking at it. They're like, wow, I want to go and chase experiences. I want to go travel. I want to live my life, as I say. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? Is it in regards to, should they be going on that Europe trip?
The best of both worlds is trying to do both, right? Yeah. You know, when you go over there and it does come down to your belief and your capability of how much you're actually going to earn one day. Yeah. Because when people go, no, I'm going to go off and I'm going to do my OE now while I don't have kids and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, is your mindset that you're actually going to become quite like wealthy or even rich? If they never care about or talk about money, then this is what's going to happen. They're going to go and they're going to either take out a personal loan or they're going to max out their credit cards to pay for this. They're going to get the experience. They're going to come back and start work. Yeah. 3 days before they fly home and they know work starts on the following Blueface Monday, they're going to absolutely start to dread it. Because they're going to be like, well, back to work now. All good. You've got the experience. 2 months pass by. You've got all the photos on your phone that you have to scroll like that far down to start seeing them because it's full of garbage that you've done in the last 2 months. And then you go, it was me, that's fun. Your credit card interest is now climbing. You now have to pay back a majority of your wages for that. And your mindset was never in the terminology of big income to be just wipe down that debt. You were always going to just work, put aside a little amount of money to chip away at that 12 grand. Yeah. You were never going to find something that was like made you 5 grand that you can just one shot it. You know? Wow. They're always going to be like, no. And then, as inflation and debt starts, you're never chipping away that fast. So then you start to realize, but I took that selfie in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's like, AI yourself in front of a green screen. Just say and go eat a croissant today. Boom, you're in France.
So mindset.
Oh, and the worst thing is when they go with a bunch of other people, and young people these days just, I don't know where their morals are. And the group of friends that you may have went there, for most people, if they're a bunch of losers, they fall out of that friend group. So the memories that you have now of going overseas with these people that were so worth the trip is now a tarnished, toxic memory.
Wow.
Where you're in debt, and the people who went over there don't even speak to each other anymore.
Oh my God.
So you're like, that was a complete waste of time and money.
Holy shit.
There is that flip side that no one really brings up or talks about as well.
100%, bro.
You know? And it happens to a lot of friends.
It was relatable, bro.
It happens to a lot of friends. It happens to couples. They go overseas, they come back in 2 months, they're divorced.
I want to ask you about the market. Is right now a good time to buy?
It's always a good time to buy. The easiest way to say this is they're like, look at what we're outside, right? Is now a good time to buy a vehicle on finance? No, but if it was 0.00001% interest, no deposit down for 10 years, would you buy it? So it all comes down to context, right? But yeah, right now in the market, in a straight thing for what I believe is with the new government rules, the amount of new listings that's going to flood the market, people are still rolling off cheaper interest rates from like 2 or 3%, and they're still going to end up at like 5. So they're going to have to sell quite cheap. There's bargains to be made.
Yeah.
And so the buy the dip type thing that most people talk about.
For sure.
Obviously property right now is on a dip climbing up. So you can still catch the wave. And obviously with only having to maintain and hold an investment probably for 2 years, and then you can sell, exit and take that profit.
Yeah.
Why not? Get that 2 years time frame started ASAP.
Yeah. Well, because like stock, we were talking about stocks before. There's that quote. It's like, it's not about timing the market. It's about your time in the market. Does that correlate and apply to property as well?
100%, because there's like a less than 1% chance of you ever losing money in property if you hold it for 20 years.
Yeah.
But people are like, I don't want it in 20 years. I want it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So let me just play this day trade the stock and wait for 10 minutes and hopefully I can make $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like this idea of a plan A thinker. Do you think you're a plan A thinker? And what I mean by that is, are you the type of guy that's all in on this one thing, or do you like to have your eggs in multiple baskets?
You definitely want to have diversify. Yeah. There's plan A thinking where it's like burn all the boats, right?
Yeah.
So it's like last year when I quit my job to do this full time now, right?
Yeah.
That was sort of a plan A, but not really burn the boats. Because I know I'm still smart enough to go back to any company that I had in my similar job and get another job there if I needed to.
Yeah.
Not that was the intention, right? And property, yes and no. Now we're going into the space of developments. So it's still property, but it's not what I used to do, like flipping, which we still do, but now it's developments, which is like their extra stress level, big ticket items, right?
Yeah.
Where you can age 10 years in 5. Lovely. Can't wait. Catch me on the next episode when I'm gravy. But also it's the online education as well. So that's another business thing that we've started off, and it is the leaders side. So the InvestPro Leaders is an online educational platform for entrepreneurs to teach them about property, teach them a little bit about business, and it's cheap as $295, and it gets you a year into the entire platform. And it's sort of like me talking like this, but breaking it down with slides and how things work. And then obviously they're gonna be like, that's pretty cool, but how'd you know about their credit card thing? Because I have a good broker. Can I use that broker? Yep, there they are. How'd you all know about this legal stuff with buying a house? Because I have a good lawyer. Can I use that lawyer? There they are. How'd you know about this thing with the tax laws and the bright line and all this stuff? Because I have a good accountant. Can I use that accountant? There they are.
Networking.
Yeah, so it's all provided to people on that platform. And so that's one of the things that we're doing as well, to help others. But as a business side, obviously there's revenue that comes with that. So that's another thing. That's a scalable product that can be sold in New Zealand and Australia. Because anyone, you can buy property in New Zealand, in Australia, Singapore, and New Zealand.
Yeah. InvestorPro.
Yeah, investorpro.co.nz. And even like going back to young entrepreneurs that go, oh, the grass is green on the other side. Maybe it's good as in Australia. I might jump ship and go to Australia. There's a lot more opportunities over there and stuff. It's like, if you're a lazy idiot here in New Zealand and you go to Australia, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be a lazy idiot in Australia.
100%.
You know? And you have to catch up with the other successful entrepreneurs that are already there.
Yeah.
With a population that's 6 times of New Zealand.
Established.
And you think your lazy idiot mindset's going to make a difference there for your life? No way.
Yeah.
Because at least you have some contact list or something here in New Zealand that could help you.
Yeah.
Over there, you have to start off from scratch.
well, you launched your app recently, September 1st. Congratulations, brother.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There's a saying that I love, even with the podcast, it's learn, grow, and then share.
Yeah.
You know, and for you, it's kind of like you've obviously learned from 90, even before that, all these different things, built these skills, grown as an individual, 32 now, and now you're teaching, and which you've done with your seminars and things like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like you don't quite master a skill until you can be able to teach the thing too.
Yeah, best way to learn is to teach, right?
Well, speaking of our young people, bro, financial freedom.
Yeah.
Probably a term you've heard a lot more than me. For all our people, and particularly our young people in Aotearoa, in your personal opinion, what is the best way or best piece of advice for us to achieve this?
One thing I always like to say is get the no's out of the way as fast as possible. Most people hang on to this Hail Mary move where they think, all good, I'm going to be fine as long as I can get to my dad letting me use his equity or whatever's happening. Just ask them about that. Say the bank of mum and dad, ask them that ASAP, because no one really says yes on the first go.
Yeah.
They have to say, get you have to make sure that you're going to actually be worth it. They're going to give you some things that they want to see you change your life to get their reward. And that's going to take could take years.
Yeah.
So you should get the no out of the way as fast as possible, because what will happen, especially for those that are very entrepreneurial, if they sort of say to their parents, like, I need help in this, it could be anything, it could be a 10 grand loan to start your business. And you say to them, like, I need this, and they say no, then the next week they're going to talk about it behind closed doors. They're going to start to mull over it, and then they might end up giving it to you for Christmas, or they might end up giving you. But if you didn't ask them, they ain't going to give you shit.
Yeah.
So you always get the no out of the way as fast as you can. Other thing is to always follow those that are doing stuff that looks very hard. So you don't want to look at the people that are doing things that look really rich, because that ain't going to teach you anything. You want to look at people that are doing very hard things, because once you start business and things are not going to go according to plan, you have to be like, how do those people in the Lambo and the beach views, and how do they deal with stress? They don't even know what stress is.
Yeah.
You want to follow the people that are like, quite well off, but they're also like hardly smile. Jensen Huang, who runs NVIDIA, there's a clip I posted. He was almost the highest running, wealthiest person in the world at one point. On Momentum, he's like, I'd never do it again.
Yeah.
And people are like, what? You're worth 901 billion. He goes, I'd never do it again. People don't tell you anything about this, and this. And then you go follow some dumb crypto Forex trader in Bali.
Yeah.
He ain't telling you anything like this.
Yeah,
Yet this guy's worth 50 million times more than this guy. And then at least he's not negging you out, don't do it. He's just preparing your mind for certain things. And when you heard that could have been the difference of you going, that actually sounds pretty hard out. I don't like the fact that he's talking about competition can come out of nowhere and just ruin you. I don't like the fact that cash flow problems he's always talking about is going to be a problem. So I'm not going to let that deter me. But what I'm going to do is now not buy that car.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on that holiday that we're all looking at blowing $6,500 in Bali in September or whatever. I'm going to put that aside and use that as backup, because clearly he's saying shit's going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to prepare for shit to hit the fan. So I'm going to keep that 6,000. That's why you listen to those things. It literally is there to change your actions.
Any other, speaking of business, you've been in the business game a long time. What else? What other some of the harsh truths, harsh realities that people may not know?
Well, in any aspect, it's probably learning, which is boring, about the tax, right? Yeah. You have to understand how tax works. You have to understand how GST works. You also have to understand when their due dates are. So normally there is set concrete due dates of when these taxes are due. It's like literally on ID's websites, and it's a nationwide sort of blanket for certain types of any income that comes in, right?
Wow.
It's like knowing Christmas Day is always December 25th.
Yeah.
You can plan for it. Your parents are turning up. Some people are turning up uninvited. And you know the day, you prepare for the day. If you're in business and you don't know when the 3 segments of taxes due, when you're making a killing and you're just blowing your money and flexing for no one that gives a shit, then IID comes being like, if you don't pay it by this date, you now incur penalties daily. So you need to know that type of stuff, not just the tax rate, but I guess the certain time frames and when they're due, so you can actually prepare or talk to IRD or the accountants and get on a payment plan and push them out. Like things like that, know?
Yeah, knowledge again.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of materialistic things, I saw one of the stories you posted, I think it was yesterday, of living rich, the rich lifestyle and the rich lifestyle. And it was of Kyle Nutt. Someone in a Lamborghini looks over, sees another man with his family, his partner, kids, and
and it's the guy in the Lambo that admires him.
Looks at the guy and thinks, man, I wish I had that kind of look, you know? What are your thoughts on this idea of rich? You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny because like when another business endeavor that I did, which is actually crazy, but it was well needed, is that I went into like a dating coach aspect. That's where Wingmen actually came from. So wingmen.co.nz was the company that started in 2019.
Yeah.
And this went quite big. This like got me on TV like 6 or 7 times.
Oh, wow.
Breakfast show, we had billboards up, and it was teaching mainly men, how to use online dating.
Wow.
Because I saw the rise of that in 2019, 2020, then boom, COVID happened. And what do you think? And I saw that, you know, social media and Netflix is just keeping a lot of guys home. Their social skills are diminishing. They have no idea how to talk to even a group of guys, let alone women. And then they know, it all happens online now. So I need to know how to text. I need to have good photos. I need to set up a dating profile. I need to know how to do anything. And no one in New Zealand was there to teach them. This is big in America. We've all seen Hitch. We've all seen that, but that did not exist here in New Zealand. So once this came on up front, it was like, damn. And one of the key things, marketing things that I used to say all the time was, you can go after, you know, rich businessmen all the time. They're making their money. But I say, even a Lamborghini comes with 2 seats. Or a Ferrari. And in that video that I just posted about, just reminded me of that. Dude's sitting in there alone, right?
Yeah.
With his Ferrari.
Yeah.
And he has to look over to the other guy that's got his full family. So even a Ferrari comes with 2 seats. So sure, you can be all about business and all about making that money, but eventually you have to have it. Do you have to come home to someone?
Well, both take work, right?
Correct.
Both take work. And I feel like a lot of my audience, our audience, even me, there's a part of me that's like, oh yeah, I would love that Ferrari, you know? I think it's just being conscious and aware of like, oh, I've got to think ahead of that too, and what else is important to me. Well, let's get away from the mahi, the housing, the business.
Never. No.
What else do you enjoy, bro? What else?
Well, obviously I've got partner and daughter at home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's always good, you know, which is quite cool. And just anything else that relates around socializing with others, you know, and mainly always talking business and keeping whatever conversations happening at a productive level.
What do you think you struggle with now?
It's navigating things with others where they really have to trust the process.
Yeah.
So with the market's done what it's done in the property market, people have to realize that certain percentages, when it's in hundreds of thousands of dollars, can affect a lot, right?
Yeah.
And when you're doing property flipping, people just say, oh, I buy this house for 500, I spend 50K in the reno, and I sell it for 620. So they might be 550, 670 grand, they might think, right? Oh, that's pretty sweet. Let's say 600. So they go, oh, so I made 50 grand. That's mean as. No, you have to take away the agent fees, then the finance fees, documentation fees, the rates, the insurance, the solicitor's fees. That clears probably an extra 35,000 to 25,000. So you only end up with like 15. And then you pay GST and tax from that 15. And then you end up with nothing.
Yeah.
But what happens when you did all those renos and the 550 ended up with your all-in cost, not 6, you got 550. You were definitely losing money there.
Not a good deal.
Yeah. So people just go on the basics things, but they don't know how to actually do the numbers that well. And
jump on Investor Pro, man.
yeah,
you know,
literally breaks down the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
To the T. Yeah.
You obviously have a lot of skills, talents. You've achieved some success. What do you think now you need to work on?
Probably just growing the socials is a big one, you know, getting the message out there for a lot more people that need to understand, like, you know, coming at a more relatable way of, you know, you hear other people that might promise a lot of things online with how they teach. Yet that's generic way they speak. That's copy and paste from everyone else. Sure, the methods, everyone steals content online, right?
For sure.
It is just the way to do it, right? You do the podcast, you chop it up into short form content and you run it.
Plagiarism.
Good artists copy, great artists steal, right? Great saying. But just growing that out to more people that I do know that a certain point of difference is always there.
Yeah.
I'll just say it the same way and
growing it, but being Tama.
Yeah,
right.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably the main thing that I'm looking to do, and just building up the members of the platform and keep getting messages from people that are like, this is really good content and it's so cheap and I've learned so much. And
Nah, wicked, brother.
Cool.
Do you, with the content stuff, do you feel like you struggle with the opinions of others, or do you think
sometimes I'm just actually now I'm like, oh, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, at that point
the
now?
care level factor is going down and down and down. But at the end of the day, you can't get too much to a point that you are. You at the end of the day, you have to respect the platform you're posting on.
Yeah.
This ain't X or Rumble. Where we can actually say whatever the we want. If we're posting on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, you have to realize that there's certain throttles of the algorithm that pushes content that doesn't have swearing. There's certain things that they will negate your content down if it does contain a lot of so you have to change.
Yeah.
Or you have to bleep it out, or you have to work against the AI where you can be like, oh, I don't care, I'm me. I can be myself. It's like, bro, if the algorithm says shut the up, you have to take the knee on that one, you know?
End up like Andrew
Otherwise,
Tate,
don't even bother turning on the camera.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. 5-10 years, Bella. Where do you want to see Tama in 5-10 years?
We'll probably have, hopefully, Investor Pro in America, which will be amazing. Teaching people about that. Working on a massive development company is probably Asgard Developments. It's probably the 5 to 10 year goal on that aspect. Yeah.
Okay.
And doing, maybe 100 houses a year, which would be a good goal.
Yeah.
Others are doing way more than that.
Yeah.
So you always know, like, oh, if that sounds big, it's like, well, what is the market? What is other people doing?
Yeah, see?
Yeah. Do they still get up in the morning and take a shit? Oh, wow. Funny
We're all
that.
human.
Funny that. So how they at 1,000 homes and we have to settle at 100.
Comes back to the environment as well.
Yeah, it
though,
comes with the environment, it comes with the resources, experience, skill, knowledge, networks. So you're like, well, how do we get some of that? If we want the 1,000 homes, how do we get some of their things to get us to 200?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Final question, brother.
Yep.
Younger Tama. You're in a room, you see him. What's the one thing you'd want to say to him?
Not the cheap one, where it's like buy Microsoft's shares. Buy Microsoft, Nvidia, Facebook.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard that one before.
Well, for now, it's just, probably be just learn property.
Yeah.
Mainly, learn real estate, which is done all that stuff. Not really much to change, because it's the same thing where it's like you change something, butterfly ripple effect. Oh, you ended up making money faster, and you're driving in your Aston Martin and you hit the bridge at 150.
Yeah.
So you can't change. If I'm all good, happy now, everyone in the family's all good, then can't really change it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just if anything, it's like, get into property a little bit earlier. Not 19. It's the whole fact when I went to the investment properties at 28.
Yeah.
I did have the equity to do it at like 22, 23, 24, 25.
Wow.
But I didn't.
Tama Singh, ladies and gentlemen, where can the people find you, bro?
So on Instagram, Tama Singh, on Instagram as well, investorpro.co.nz is the main one. You can check out the actual website. You can see what the course entails, how we teach, what you can actually learn from it to get into property, everything about sale and purchase agreement. Don't get schooled by people that know more than you for paying tens of thousands of dollars or more. You don't have to. The barrier of entry is only $295 for the whole year. Heaps of benefits on there.
Any seminars coming up or anything like that?
We might have one in December, which is, the live events. But I mean, for people to get started, they shouldn't wait for something that's 4 months. I am a bit impatient with things, If I have something that I know I can learn from, I'm like, I want to get on that tonight. Urgency,
Well, we at the Martin Show, we have a tradition on this podcast where we like to do something with our guests outside the room. And go into your world, whether it be just a 10-minute yarn of you teaching us about something, or it could be whatever. But
now,
would love to
after this.
Just whenever. It could be later on. Just to further the relationship.
Yeah, probably after this then.
Bro, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being here, and tune in and support the bro.
No, it's good, man. You're an excellent host. You're good. You're confident in your questions. You're fluent on the way you speak. You're obviously, consistent with the way you're posting. So I hope, all the success from this they need someone else, they need another young person that's guiding others. Yeah.
Well, it took time to be able to figure it out and find our niche, and
and it's good. And I love the fact that you're actually a fighter as well. Yeah. And you're actually training and working hard and stuff like that. Yeah. Because one thing I've always talked about as well is you can have all the money in the world, right, guys? But if someone comes up and wants to just king hit you in the street and you haven't got your boys around or anything, it doesn't matter how big your wallet is. Yeah. You should definitely try and pay them not to you up. Yeah. But there is a chance if you can't defend yourself, you are going to get rolled. Yeah. And one small tap on the concrete with your head, your bank account's empty. Yeah. Well, so look, self-defense is something that I would also like to get into. Yeah. No, I literally have a weigh-in on fighting tomorrow night. So, I better get to that now. But no, thank you again, brother. Cool, appreciate you, man. That is another episode done for The Martin Show. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Give _The Martin Show a follow on our socials, TikTok, Instagram, etc., etc. Thank you for tuning in. Please share, like, etc. Love you guys. Thank you.